y'all ready to head off the trail? I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on a mysterious journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on the Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We would love to have y'all. Shout out to Bumblefoot for that amazing music. I love it every single time. Thank you so much. You guys, please follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You guys can find me at thecryptidhuntress.com with all my shows. Y'all, I have a daytime show every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern and a nighttime show every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Cryptid Huntress at YouTube. Y'all please go subscribe, like, and share those videos out for me. It would be awesome. And also visit my shop. It's called War Woman Goods. That's on Etsy. Join my Patreon, the Cryptid Huntress. Y'all, there's so many ways y'all can support the Cryptid Huntress over here and Spaced Out Radio. Okay. And we're going to be having a Las Vegas fan party, and I hope you guys will come and join me. This is a reminder that you only have until April 1st to confirm your VIP tickets to the second annual Spaced Out Radio fan party at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas, Nevada, May 19th through the 21st. With the VIP tickets, you get a Friday night VIP special party with our special guests, and you'll receive a swag bag as well, full of Spaced Out Radio items. Maybe some Cryptid Huntress merch. Who knows? All right. And for those of you who've already signed up, please send in your confirmation and t-shirt size to Kat at info@spacedoutradio.com. We need to know that you're going to be coming so that we can purchase all the stuff for your swag bags. And we need the numbers for that event. Okay. Because there could be a whole bunch of people coming. We don't know. But we can't wait to see y'all there. Okay. I really hope y'all will come join us. It's going to be a hoot. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there. Okay. I have a fantastic guest at Spaced Out Radio tonight. I have Adam Davis here with me. Okay. Don't forget that right after this show, After Hours has a great program set up for us. So let's get to our guest. Adam Davis is a longtime dogman researcher. Adam is one of the founders of the North American Dogman Project and is now the head of the International Dogman Project Ohio chapter. He's a wealth of knowledge in the field, and he's an experienced tracker and survivalist. He's been doing it for over 20 years. He's been a witness to dogman. He's obtained dogman evidence and has experienced a lot of other high strangeness. And boy, he has got some amazing stories, some amazing evidence. We're going to be hearing about it tonight. We're going to be showing some evidence tonight. And I know I saw some comments in the chat. Not everybody is seen a lot of dogman evidence before. So I can't wait for this. This is going to be awesome. Please help me welcome Adam to the show. Hey, Adam.
How's it going?
Hey. And your wife's here as well. Hey, Jen.
Yep.
Hi. Hi. Thank y'all for being here tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. Yes. I have really been looking forward to this because, you know, you were one of the founders of the North American Dogman Project back in the day, and you've done a lot of research, more than a lot of people that I know. And I'm so excited to hear about some of your stories tonight. And I know that it can be pretty traumatic, actually, with some of the stuff that you guys have gone through, especially in your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff I found out in the field, too.
Absolutely. Well, Adam, tell me a little bit about how you got started in being interested in dogman. Were you looking for dogman, or did you stumble across it?
I kind of stumbled across it. I mean, it goes kind of back to when I was 14 and I was down to my grandfather's. Since then I've learned that the area where he lived in Ohio, down in Adams County, is a hot spot for dogman. Okay. And the first evidence I came across was when the night before I heard this god awful squall and howl, and coming from the direction of where the horses like to bed down, and they came running in, and into the tobacco barn where they would usually bed down if the weather was bad. So the next day I came out to brush them down and everything, because my mom and my uncle were going to do some horseback riding, And my horse, he's a 14, well, was a 14 and a half hand high gelding, had this huge handprint with claw marks, probably. Well, okay, I wear a size 2X glove. Just keep this in mind.
Okay.
I would
Big
say
hands.
about 4 inches out from the tips of my fingers was how far this reach was, and it gouged into his hide against the spur. So I'm thinking that something tried to come up on him and surprised him, and like I said, tell him now what I know about these things. It might very well have been a dog man.
Wow.
That, and also we had black bear out there, and all of a sudden they mysteriously disappeared about the time I started seeing these huge dog-like prints out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that was an anomaly in itself, just seeing these gigantic dog prints. But
Right.
your horse was actually attacked by a potential dog man.
Exactly. And like I said, he was slashed probably a good 3 or 4 inches, of length through his hide in 2 places.
Wow.
And, it's like it tried to get a parting swipe at him when he was probably trying to defend the foal that my dad, or my grandpa's, his mare had. She was only maybe about 3 months old, and and he, being still male, has the male instinct to fight whatever's coming at him.
Yeah.
He was ornery anyway.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, you were pretty young when that happened. How did your family react to that? And were they aware that there could be a dog man or something out on your property?
Well, I mean, nothing like that. But I did kind of point it out to my mom, and everything. She's like, "That's weird looking," I was like, "Yeah." It's like, and I told her about the sound that I heard, and she's like, "Well, it's like, doesn't sound like anything they had ever heard or my grandpa had ever heard," And it was just like one of those things where it's like, well, maybe it was, we're thinking we all knew about Bigfoot, and it's like, well, maybe it was a Bigfoot, and it was trying to, well, there's tales about them getting a little bit fresh with livestock occasionally.
We've all heard of the witch knots. I know what's up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, this was, like I said, this was something where it just out and out slashed the back end of Joe's back behind and everything.
Yeah.
But later on, my next known encounter was here in Dayton, Ohio, of all places. I'm actually in the house where we had this one. There's about 100 acres of woods behind my mom's place here in Harrison Township. And if you ever look at a map of Dayton and look at Harrison Township, we are, we're technically urban, but there's enough woodland and adjoining, areas to where you could actually get an army through here if you really wanted to unnoticed. But I was out there in the backyard, and I closed the doors to the barn where the lawnmower was, and all of a sudden, this god awful shriek comes from the woods. I mean, it was right on par with the one that I heard that night, when I was 14, but it didn't go into that low, angry sound afterwards. It was just a pure, I'm like, I froze. And then I immediately thought, "Get inside, you ding dong!" And opened up the doors and held them shut, and was like, "Okay, calm down." It's like, what the hell was that? And
that's terrifying.
Yeah. Then later on, my mom hears it too, and we found evidence of a kill back there a fresh kill back there in those woods. There was a possum that was, mind you, this is 2000. We didn't have, handy dandy digital, cameras on phones and everything. We were still dealing with Nokia bricks. But we find this possum, and it was still warm because it was on a cool day. It was kind of drizzly and everything. It had been raining earlier, and it looked like something had taken a dull knife, and from its spine almost all the way around the bottom of its rib cage, it was open, and all the entrails were gone, and there was like a bite taken out of its right hind quarter. And
Okay.
we traced the blood for like about 150 feet or so before the trail petered out.
Wow.
That was
And
a friend
you're
of
you're
mine.
you're very well trained in tracking and hunting,
Mhm.
survivalist,
Yeah,
all that survival. And so you know to look for animals that how they've been killed and which direction the blood trail goes and things like that.
exactly.
You knew something was off.
Yeah, because I'd never seen anything killed like that. I
Wow.
mean, I've seen coyotes, go after deer and, after small animals and rabbits and, the occasional bobcat. I encountered those out of my grandfather's. We've actually got bobcats here now, and which the DNR tried to deny.
Oh
But
yeah, they
that's
do that.
kind of an aside. But that also kind of plays into some of the stuff that we'll probably get into later. But there are a lot of normal predators that are out there, but it's pretty obvious when you see how a normal predator takes out an animal. Usually it'll bite from the back of the neck if
Mhm.
it's a larger predator coming down on a smaller animal, or it'll come into the side of the neck, like in the case of a coyote. Taking a deer down, they'll come in from two or three angles. One will get the side of the throat, and while one or two get a hold of the legs, so it doesn't struggle as much when they're going in as a pack. And this is none of that. It was just like something that picked this poor little possum up and opened it up like a TV dinner.
Wow. Fast food, right? Fast food.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And you think about it, the
yeah,
organs are where most of the nutrition would be.
that's right. They
You
taste the best, I guess.
know?
I don't know.
Liver.
Livers, right?
He ate his liver with fava beans and a nice Chianti.
With a nice Chianti. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, dogmen are pretty intelligent, though. I mean,
Yeah.
they're way more intelligent than I'd like for them to be. But
Tell me about it. I mean,
yeah,
uh, they have a history in everything that I've studied from looking at old records of the settlers in the area, and all the way up through all the different encounters that I've read and everything, where people have submitted reports that they have a level of intelligence where they kind of vary from being just kind of ambivalent towards humans, kind of like they know that they can have you at any time they want, but they really don't give a damn.
yeah,
It's like I'm here for something else. You're just kind of in the way. Versus ones that that seem to get off on scaring the crap out of humans,
yeah.
and then there's ones that
We'll just eat you, perhaps. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it's very traumatic for people like you and your wife, Jen. There, you guys have experienced this firsthand. You've come across things that are out in the field that are very sad, and where there have been possible attacks, and
yeah,
there's a lot of people who go missing every year across the country, all over the United States, all over the world, and
yeah,
there's not a good explanation for where a lot of these missing people are going, but you might have stumbled across something like that, and I don't know if you're comfortable talking about that tonight, and if you're not, it's okay. But you've come across some things when you were out exploring and just looking around in the wilderness, out in the field, that are it's pretty gut wrenching.
yeah. I may as well get into it. Hey, hang on a second. Let me try
Okay,
to
take your
clear my
time.
sinuses
Take
a
your
little bit
time.
here.
Okay, it's okay. Yeah. I mean, for people who have experienced Dogman, it is life changing, and I do know several people, a lot of people, not a lot, but several people who have had firsthand encounters with them. Being in this field and having a show, a couple of shows where we talk about Dogman. Of course, I know a lot of people on my shows that have seen them, and it's pretty terrifying.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've
Yeah,
had a lot of people when I talk to them about Dogman and everything say, "Oh, I wish I could see one. I wish I could see one." I'm like, "No, you don't. You really, really don't." Because
right.
it's, I got to question their sanity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, especially some of the stuff I've found.
Yeah. It's well, and what when you after you tell the story tonight, if you're comfortable talking about it, you have to wonder why is this covered up, and why are more of these stories not out there? Because I feel like my duty here as a show host and a researcher is to inform the public on the dangers of cryptids.
Right.
Not all cryptids are love and light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like my friend Keith said. He flat out put it that he would rather come face to face with Dogman because he knows what to expect versus Bigfoot. Because Bigfoot could either walk up and give you a big old hug, or walk up and tear your head off, whichever. It's like with Dogman, you know where you stand. You're on the food chain.
Yeah.
But there's one of the things that I found fairly early on when I actually actively started researching these things, kind of going back to where I began and everything. I had learned about the presence of something out there in the area where I lived at, or where I was going to live at. I was still in Dayton at that point in time. We were hearing about howls out there that were recorded and submitted to the Daily News. The NADP site, I don't know if it's still up, has the recording from the Dayton Daily News, because I managed to find an archive of it. But just it's okay right now. But we went out there. It was after I'd moved out there, and my girlfriend and I at the time, she was the one who was driving. I had messed up my vehicle, and we were going up Anthony Road. We were from the Manning Road end of things, because Manning Road butts into Anthony Road, and then there's a bridge right there going across Twin Creek. So we go over the bridge, and when you come over the bridge, you got to go down and kind of turn a little bit to the right, and to follow the road. And it's now there's a fence there on the one side where the Metro Parks have taken it over, so it's DNR land now. And there's a gate there for like hunters to park. But the other side's private property. But at that point in time, there was no fence there. So I see something, and mind you, this is about 9:30ish in the morning, because we wanted to try to get out there before anybody had really had a chance to roll through there and potentially disturb tracks, so on and so forth. And because at that point in time, there was no maintenance to that other than making sure that it was passable.
Okay. So the grass was never really cut, and it was never
grass was never really cut. There was just pure dirt and gravel road. Now they've been working on actually trying to maintain it and trying to reduce the level of silt that's available for anything to leave an imprint in. They've been going in and putting down like crushed asphalt with like an oil base and stuff, so it kind of manages to nothing could hardly leave a track, not even normal animals, unless it's like right on the edge of the road. But like I said, we had turned, and I saw something over to the left hand, or to the right hand side rather, and I was like, "Stop for just a second." So she stops the van within about 5 feet of the object. I get out and I look at it. It's this black fabric, and I'm like, "Okay," So I just pick it up and by the belt loops with my pinkies to so that I could disturb it as little as possible. I picked it up and kind of looked at it and flipped the waistband in the back, and I saw that it was a woman's brand of pants, and like in a petite size.
Okay.
And then I turned it around. I'm just seeing this in front of me play out again. I turned it around and looked at it, and the entire front of the pants were just shredded and matted with blood, and it was just congealing. It hadn't even started really drawing flies. It was that fresh.
Wow.
And I'm like, I just kind of was in shock at that point, and I put him down gently, and I looked around, and I looked over across the road, and I see this massive red, and I'm like, okay, it's about 50, 60 feet away, and I walk over. Excuse me.
It's okay. Take your time. It's okay. Yeah.
And like I said, it's this massive red, and I just go over kind of slow, and I'm looking at it, and I figured out that that it was a sweater, and there was a large amount of the middle part of the sweater kind of unraveled from it and kind of strung, maybe about 10 or 15 feet, almost like something had caught. You ever snag a sweater?
Yes, I have. It unravels.
Like you're trying to get it off, get it off fast, and it catches on a ring, and you try to blow it, and it's like, like that. That's kind of the way it looked. But it was, there was a T-shirt with it too. It was a red T-shirt that was still inside of it, part way. And I looked at it, and I was handling it as little as possible to look at it, and it was a matching size for the pants. And the whole middle part of the shirt and the sweater were just shredded out, like something had just grabbed and ripped. And now, I mean, I've read reports of people saying that they've seen kills and stuff, and that these things seem to have a tendency to peel off the person's clothes. They know it's not, basically, it's not edible.
I've heard that.
And later on, I'm still there, so I'm like, I go over to my girlfriend's like, call the cops,
Okay.
and
of course.
so
right?
we try to get the cops out there, and they dispatch, he says, oh, well, it's probably just trash that somebody left out there. It's matted with fresh blood.
Wow. That's a strange reaction from the police department.
I'm looking around, and I'm like, there's no trash bags that are 100 yards anywhere, and so they, like I said, they just kind of blew it off, and I'm like, okay, Tammy, we're going to go home. We're going to go get a trash bag or two and come back and try to get this, and we're going to save it. By the time we got back, we only lived, about 10 minutes away. By the time we got back, the evidence was gone. And somebody had taken a car and drove over the spots where it was at to just totally obliterate any imprint of any, clothes that was there, and or any blood evidence that was left.
Wow.
So fast forward. Hopefully I can get through this without anyone crying.
Yeah, it's okay. Take your time, Adam. It's okay. This is very very tough, and it's what you're going to end up, eventually the story gets deep. It gets deep, and it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what is the purpose of someone taking that evidence and trying to cover all this
Right.
up.
But got out. But this was a point in time just before the NADP was officially formed. Went out to Salt Fork State Park with the other two co-founders for the
Okay.
weekend for the Bigfoot conference, and wound up meeting up with a guy by the name of Dave out there that was from Hamilton. Excuse me, I need another shot of my nasal spray.
Okay.
Hopefully I can breathe. But like I said, met up with this guy, and he was listening to the other two talk and everything during their times up on stage. And he introduced himself to us and got to talking about what he had been finding going from Hamilton up through Trenton, 7 Mile, and all the way up through Oxford up to Germantown.
Uh-huh.
He had been finding anomalous prints and reports of Bigfoot with a muzzle and pointed ears and everything. So he's like, okay, well, this definitely is a Bigfoot. So when he heard their presentation, that's when he approached us, and he was telling me he told me he was basically going door to door in around the Germantown area along Anthony Road, because there's a part of Anthony Road that is residential, and he said he found this one family that said back in April of 2006 their daughter went out early one morning to go jogging and never came back.
Oh my gosh. That's the same month that you found those clothes.
It says the exact same day.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Whew. Well, was he able to contact the family or talk to the family after you met with him?
I told him to try to get me the information so I could try to talk to him, but I never heard from him again.
Yeah.
I had his phone number and stuff. I talked to him like one other time, and then after that, he just kind of went off the radar.
Yeah. Well, it would appear as though there's some sort of an active type of cover-up now. Have other people gone missing from this area?
As I understand it from one of the witnesses that I've talked to that lives out there, I'm not sure if it was the same time, because I have to actually try to pin him down for a minute and actually ask him when exactly they found this girl. But they found the remains of a girl stuffed up underneath the bridge.
Oh my gosh.
And which kind of reminds me of how they found that girl after the LBL attack.
Yeah.
Where they found the family, and then they found the girl's clothes, and the girls that they couldn't find the girl. They found her 60 yards away, about 40 feet up in a tree, impaled on a branch.
Yeah. Yes, I can say I do believe that really happened at the LBL.
Yeah.
Adam, there's something you may not know about me, but I am a remote viewer, and I do that pretty often. And I was asked to look into. I was just okay. I was asked to look into the LBL, and I didn't know anything about the LBL when I looked into it. And
Right.
I can confirm that that family was murdered there by
Yeah.
dogmen, multiple dogmen actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect just one dog man to do that much damage.
Mhm.
I mean, it could if it was determined enough, but you know, it would seem to me that that was a small pack, like
There
a
were
hunting.
there
I
were at
call it a
least
hunting
two.
party.
Yeah, there were at least two there from what I remote viewed. Okay, but
Right.
of course, you know, there could have been more, but two did the mauling basically. So,
Right.
um, yeah. Now, from your experience and all the reports that you have taken over all these years, do they run in packs or are they usually lone wolves, so to speak?
Well, most of the sightings that I hear are generally they only see one individual, but a lot of the time I hear of people talking about that they hear howls from multiple directions. I've actually got I meant to send that to you. It was a comparison between coyote and coyote howls and how dogs were responding to them versus howls that I captured uh, right at, it was about that time.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I remember now because you know, it was the day after, it was the morning after we had heard the howls that we went out there.
Okay. Wow.
Because we heard the howls up around the house, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the what we call the research area now is only about I'd say maybe about 2.5 miles, maybe 3 miles from the house where I was living at on Diamond Mill Road.
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, it was easy access at that time. And like I said, now that I remember it, you know, I sometimes things don't click, you know, until later.
Right.
But I had recorded howls that night about 3:30 or so in the morning, I think it was, and from multiple directions, and you could hear the dogs how they were responding, totally different from how they responded to the coyotes. And that's
Wow.
another thing that people need to pay attention to is their animals, how their animals are responding to different things. You know, it's whether you're taking a dog out in the field with you or if you are at home and you have your dogs and cats in the house and all of a sudden they start cowering and stuff.
Yeah.
You know that you live out in the back country somewhere, or even live in the edge, like on the edge of the suburbs, close to the woods and stuff. If
Mm-hmm.
you start hearing weird things in there, the dogs and cats just start acting weird, or you have chickens and stuff like that, you know, outside. That could also be a draw for them. I've heard of instances where people will people will hear it'll be nighttime and they'll hear one of their chickens in distress or something like that, like out in the field, and they they're trying to figure out how the chicken got out of this coop and everything, and they find the next morning that the chicken is there. These things can mimic.
Wow.
There was an instance. What was it? 2018 or 2017? 2018, I think. Yeah, it was summer of 2018. We were having a fire outside, and initially, we have a Chihuahua and a pit mix, and sometimes they would get into it.
No.
And we heard Harley go after Lily briefly outside, so we had Marie bring him in so that she could keep him under, keep him from doing the big dog little dog thing. And then about 20 minutes after she let him in, all of a sudden we hear what sounds like Lily in distress. but it sounds like she's like 75 yards away on the other side of the privacy fence. And I'm like, okay. So I just do a quick call into the house to ask Marie where Lily was at. She's like, she's right here. And I'm like, oh no. And then it's like a couple minutes later, we hear, like it sounds like Lily, yipping, but closer. About another 90 seconds, you hear it again, and it's closer. At this point in time, I say, F this, we're going inside, because I didn't have anything out with me as far as anything for defense. I was just out there, tending the fire and cooking marshmallows. Yeah. By the time as we were stepping in the door, we heard it right up behind the fence, about 30 feet from us. So it was trying to draw us out. But like I said, they can mimic. They can, but they are also known to actually go ahead and snag people's animals and put them in pain to try to, to actually draw people out. And sometimes people will find the remains of their animal out there, not eaten, just tortured to death.
Wow.
Yeah.
That shows a sign of high intelligence in these dogmen, though.
Yeah,
they're able to go mimic. Yeah. Well, it's terrifying. It's terrifying, Adam. And so we have a picture of your home, and I know your wife Jen. Yeah. You guys have been terrorized by dogmen around your house. And would you like to talk about that? We'll show the picture of the window.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But
if you're not comfortable, we don't have to talk about it. We can move on to something different.
You all right, babe? This was more her experience than mine, because she. Let me adjust how I'm sitting.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Had a snap, crackle, pop there. But I mean, are you showing the picture now on as far as that?
Not yet. Here, we'll go ahead and show it. Okay. This is
so that way I can explain what kind of happened there.
Yeah. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, it's up.
Okay, now as you look at that window, okay, I'm 6'2". All right. Okay. The top of my head just comes to the very bottom of that windowsill. Okay. So just to give you some indication of height here, what Jen saw was looking over the top of that middle bar.
Oh wow!
She said she was coming out of the bedroom, because she had a straight shot looking through into the kitchen from the bedroom, and she saw these two yellow eyes about this far apart. Probably about almost 7 or 8 inches apart, further apart than a human's eyes, and golf ball size. Would you say, hon? And so she just kind of froze in place, and she just finally is able to start walk. She walked over to the couch finally, and kept her eyes locked on the window for a minute until she got sat down, and she was continually trying to look at it to see if it was still looking at her. Mind you, my daughter is in her bedroom, which if you look at the window, her room would be to the left of that window. And when she would when Jen here would stop looking, it would tap on the glass to get her attention.
Oh gosh. Ooh.
And I heard it. I was sitting in my recliner.
Oh my
and God. I'm just like, I don't want to disturb anything and potentially cause things to go awry, As long as it's staying outside, I was like, okay, well, let's ride this through, And that would occasionally, it would go away from that window over to the left. And it apparently was leaning up against the house hard enough to where my daughter could hear it growling and breathing through the wall.
Oh my gosh.
And she said that she heard it scratch at her window too. She didn't look. And then it would come back and tap on the window again and get Jen's attention. This went on for like almost 90 minutes. Yeah, where it was playing peekaboo, as I called it. A nasty game of peekaboo, but it was messing with us. And we found on that little green window tray there. I didn't get pictures of it up close, but there were claw marks in the wood of that on the top edge of it. Like it had just tried to put its hand up there like this as it was looking in,
Yeah. Adam, how old was your daughter at the time?
She was 14 at the time. Then a little later, it started coming back and started specifically messing with her. I had put out blackout curtains, because of that incident. And then like the very top part, there was maybe about a 6-inch gap. Mm-hmm. She started seeing eyes above that gap. Now, mind you, again, the top of that window, of her window, for her room was probably even with the top of that one. So for it to look over that gap, it had to be well over 8 foot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very interesting. Now, where do you think that these dogmen are living? Do they live near your house? Is there some sort of habitat where they could be holed up, like in a cave or something? Or where do you think they're coming from?
Ohio is kind of riddled with caves. I mean, there's up in the main center that at least the way that the Shawnee talked about it, when the white man came, they told us to stay out of the area for the headwaters of the rivers, which would be the headwaters of the Little Miami, the Mad, the Great Miami, the Scioto, and the Stillwater. There's a whole region right there that goes from like about east of Indian Lake, which is the main headwater of the Miami River, all the way over into Indiana. So
they seem to be near water sources too.
Yeah, they seem to love to travel along rivers and creeks and stuff.
Okay.
1 second, hon. And there's a lot of sightings around Indian Lake. There's tons of sightings along. If you look at a map and actually look at the sightings versus an actual topographic map, you'll find that most sightings are within a mile of a body of moving water.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that would absolutely make sense. And I hear that they live underground in caves or like in a den, perhaps.
Perhaps that's another thing, is that whole area that I was just talking about is rife with caves and everything. I mean, there's Ohio Caverns, there's the Zane Caves. Those are the two that are actually known as far as public caves, but there's all kinds of caves on private land up there that nobody really knows about. And it's, like I said, this is Ohio, between Ohio and Kentucky. There's so many caves around that it's just ridiculous. There's caves over into Indiana too, but it just seems like the dearth of caverns kind of got gifted to our two states between Ohio and Kentucky. There's so much limestone, but I'm pretty sure that they live in an environment similar to that. I know that there was a cavern that was down near my grandpa's that we started into on Peach Mountain one time. My friends and I, we got about 20 feet in and got hit in the face with this god awful stench. We thought, okay, it's just something that went in there and died. We really don't want to, try to go in any further and wind up retching our guts out for the next hour. Didn't give it any thought at that point. And now that I know what these things smell like, I'm pretty damn sure that we were in the middle of a den.
Oh, wow.
Now,
Wow.
now back to the whole Central Territory thing. I've got a sort of a hypothesis that they have a central area where they come into on a seasonal basis to, to mate and stuff and everything. And but most of the time they've kind of spread out from the center there, with the exceptions of ones that are maybe taking care of young, probably in the main dens. And they circulate around the center, kind of like how wolves would tend to do with their territory. But they're broken up into smaller groups. Remember how we were talking briefly about, the pack?
Yes.
Okay. The pack overall, I hope that I'm wrong, is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a steady 50 to 60 members.
Whoa.
Because
that's a lot.
this is just based on what I've seen with having multiple sightings on, in the same, the same state, but on the opposite sides of the state, and also how every couple years, if they show up again, their behavior is a little different. Like some of them might be more aggressive, some of them might be more ambivalent, some of them might be, kind of mischievous, which I kind of think might be the ones that are, like the young ones that are just getting out to, to learn how to hunt and learn,
How to scare people.
Right, how to scare people and everything. Because like I said, they seem to get their jollies off of scaring the crap out of people. That seems to be the dearth of them.
Okay,
And then,
can I tell you something too? I mentioned that remote viewing stuff that I do. The one recurring theme in all of my Dogman targets that I've had is they if they're going to go in for a kill, they like the blood adrenalized, if you know what I mean. So they thrive off of scaring whatever they're going to attack. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes the meat sweeter.
I guess so. It's really terrifying.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, Jen wants to say something here.
Okay.
Behind our house, we have a wooded area, and these people that own back there, they made it to like a little path where you could walk in. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they are back there quite a bit. Like the dogmen are back there. Like, remember walking down the bike trail? And I told you we had that little thing over there.
Yeah. Right.
We have nothing but fields and woods around us.
We've heard some pretty close howls from back behind the house in that area. I think that's what you were trying to get at, right?
Yeah, there's a path back here that you can go walk in.
Yeah, there's a bike path, and then there's an area called the Dull Woods, Dull. It's for the Dull family name, but the the Dull family owns that area, and these things. Well, like I said, we're out there in the country, between right on the edge of Preble County and Montgomery County. So there is nothing but, woods and fields around us pretty much. And there's a bike trail that goes up through there. So there was one night that I had just left, hadn't I? Or you were just coming in. Yeah, you guys were just coming back from here. And they heard this god awful screaming and howling from the field right across the road. And I come in the next day, the next evening, and they were plowing the field, and right there in front of the house, they had stopped, and they were looking at something in the lights on the front of the combine, and when the front of they had the pickup truck pointing the lights at it. I couldn't get a real good look at it, but it was literally right there in front of it. So, and I don't know any other reason why they would stop, unless something was laying there, that shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
I mean, bear in mind, we do have a lot of transients that come through and on that bike trail and everything. So it's possible that something happened that night.
Wow.
These things were interested in whoever they were chasing, because she said that they heard a man and a woman scream.
Oh.
Yeah. And
oh my gosh.
along with two really loud howls right there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, what I find really interesting is that when you found that pair of bloody, ripped up pants and the sweater that was torn up, there were no missing persons reports announced around town. There was nothing in the news. I mean, I can imagine you were probably really watching the newspapers and the TV reports.
I checked for months afterwards to see if it came up. And like I said, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was just like they just erased her existence because she was attacked by what she was attacked by. There was we want to talk about government involvement. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's there seems to be as though there's some sort of cover up or they're involved, and it makes me wonder: are there government agencies? Or there's some kind of agency of any sort, not only involved in cover-ups, but hiding them or letting them out to feed and feasting on humans.
Well,
and all this
I
weird
don't think
stuff.
it's so much a matter of letting these things out to feed. They're just trying to. I think they might just be trying to control the population of the wild ones at this point, because there was back in it was October of 2008. I was standing outside. I forge, I make knives and stuff like that when I have the facilities available. I was standing outside working on a piece, and I hear a helicopter coming. And I'm like, okay, where's it coming from? And I see it. It's a black bell little bird, which the military designation for the little bird is scorpion. So black scorpion helicopter, no markings, comes zipping over my head.
Wow.
And then I hear another one coming and another, and total of 5 of them in a staggered formation, like they're wanting to make sure everybody had a clear line of view. Headed directly from almost on a direct line from the direction of the Air Force Base. Mind you, I live out here by Wright Pat Air Force Base is here in Dayton. So for those who don't know.
Oh yeah.
And of course, we all know things about what could potentially still be out here at Wright Pat.
Right.
Hangar 18 and all that. But like I said, 5 of these helicopters go zipping over my head. Then I hear a big one coming. I look up. It's a solid Black Hawk helicopter, and it's set up with 2 M134A Gatlings. I'm like, crap. These guys mean business, and they're heading straight out towards the direction of my research area. Then I saw them go out there. Then I saw them go north, at treetop level for a second, about 10 minutes later. And then, because I just saw them above treetop level briefly. And then the next time I saw them, they were all about 2,000-3,000 feet up, heading back towards the base. But I don't know of any other reason why they'd be going directly out there towards where the research area that we go out to all the time is, other than to potentially take out something nasty with that much firepower.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, it just seems like there's a cover up going on, and just the fact that missing lady was not in the news, and when you went to go get. You were taking the right precautions to go get an evidence bag and to come back and put it all in a bag. And it was all gone when you got back. with the tracks covered.
Yeah.
There's an absolute cover up going on, and this is not the first type of story I've heard similar. I've never heard a story where there was ripped up clothes found, but it seems as though there might be a cleanup crew, coming around.
Right. I mean, I've heard of a couple of reports out of Kentucky where they found shredded clothes, or they found what they deemed as a wild dog attack, but all of the clothes from the person were found a short distance from them, and everything. So what wild dog would remove all the clothes off of somebody?
Yeah. Probably only a dog man. And
that'd be the only thing I could think of.
It's mind blowing and it's perplexing, and I really appreciate so much, Adam. You and Jen, thank you so much for sharing your stories tonight with us.
You're welcome.
You have a lot of support in the chat tonight, and everybody that's watching. We all support you, and I hope that you'll come back and we'll continue this conversation in the future.
I'd be glad to.
I know y'all have so much more to tell us, and you've done so much tracking, and you guys are both a wealth of knowledge. So thank y'all so much for being here tonight with us.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and also, where can people find you? I know that you are the Ohio chapter head of the International Dogman Project.
Right.
I was going to pull that up.
Right. We're right there on Facebook for the International Dogman Project. And if anybody wants to get a hold of us, you can always direct message me, through that if you've got any kind of sightings in the Ohio area, or even if you're in an adjoining state, like Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky. Let me know, because we're trying to get more, people for chapters around us too. We want to have, preferably have a person in each state, because we're to where people can report to, and have a team in each state eventually to where people could go out and investigate for the, like somebody finds evidence in Kentucky, it's easier for somebody in Kentucky to get there than it is for somebody, let's say, let's say I wasn't necessarily as close as Kentucky, like I was in Indiana. And it was over on the west or on the east end of the state, over towards Ashland or whatever.
Okay. You just need some boots on the ground people out there.
Exactly.
And I'm down here in Georgia to help you guys. So y'all let me know what I can do. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Reach him on the IDP page. I'm on there as an admin as well. You can reach me on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's times where he's out doing his thing.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of driving for Uber, so.
All right. Well, everybody go check out the International Dogman Project on Facebook, and thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I cannot wait to meet with you guys again in the future. Okay, y'all have a great night. Thank you again so much for sharing your story. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right,
thank you. You have a great evening.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, y'all. Okay. Everybody, don't forget that right after this show, After Hours has something incredible set up for us. That was heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching, y'all. What a story. Okay, next time on Off the Trails, I think I've got Anthony Canatella coming on next weekend. So with DAX Machina podcast, it's going to be really fun. I hope you guys will join me there. I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones. I hope y'all enjoyed this show. Please go check out the International Dogman Project. And I will see you guys next week. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please join me as well on my daytime show this Wednesday and on Thursday night at the Cryptid Huntress. I'll see y'all next time.